Hey, welcome back. John Myers here. And today is Thanksgiving. And I'm going to do movie reviews, 2 of them. Why not? You know, something different totally. You never know what to expect on this channel. So it's Thanksgiving and we went on a hot date today and date night. Yeah, like where are we? Why don't we have Thanksgiving at home? Well, all of our kids are out of possession. They're with their other family members. Boyfriends or girlfriends and wives and husbands' homes with their families. And then on Sunday, the first day, I'll come back here and we have our big Thanksgiving here. And that's what we're going to do on Sunday. So we had some free time today. So A, we went to a movie, and B, I took Shelly to a steakhouse. So it was kind of fun. And I'm going to review a couple movies we've seen in the last 24 hours. So the one we saw last night, we streamed. It was called Here, Here. And it was in the theaters for a very short time. It's a Robert Zemeckis film. He is the one that did Forrest Gump, amongst other amazing films. And in Forrest Gump, you might recall Robin Wright and Tom Hanks starred together. Well, here they are 30 years later, starring again in another film. And or is it 40 years later? I guess it's whenever Forrest Gump came out. I'm not sure. It's a long time ago. But they're paired again together in another Zemeckis film. And I'm not going to spoiler alert or anything, but just know that the film is very unique. It's very different. It's done in a format I doubt anyone's ever seen before. It's worth seeing, although we paid $20 to stream it on Netflix. It's probably going to be cheaper pretty soon. And it is a story with many side stories about a family and many other families, about a home, about a house. And it's about like who's passed through the house, kind of. And how the house got to be. It has some interesting history to it, geological history also, you'll see. It's unexpected. Many of the stories and the side stories got you scratching your head till about halfway through, and then they all start tying together, making sense. I'm not going to talk about the ending because I never would do that to you, but it's worth seeing. It's not necessarily a tearjerker, but it will make you think about your own family, your own heritage, what we leave behind, and what we gather as we go. So it's well worth seeing. It's called Here. I'll leave it at that because I don't want to spoil any of it. Acting's good. Very keeps your curiosity. You're going to go like, what's going to happen next, right? Then the other film we saw in the theaters today was Bonhoeffer. And I highly suggest that you go see Bonhoeffer on the big screen. It's a World War II period film. Bonhoeffer, for those of you who don't know who Bonhoeffer was, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, was a gifted musician, amongst other things, a lover of people and life, a bright light in the universe, a Christian from Germany, Nazi Germany. And he was the voice of reason that stood up when all the bad things were happening that Adolf Hitler promoted. He traveled endlessly and tirelessly between the United States, Germany, and England. And he was a pastor, and he actually wrote about 34 books. So, I mean, if you ever hear of anyone quoting Bonhoeffer, there's a reason. He struggled his way through the Nazi world and spoke the truth to this evil, evil empire. One of the things he was very much involved with was saving Jews as much as possible. And his way of doing it was to make a public proclamation about standing up to Hitler and having the church stand up to Hitler showing the plight of the Jews. And, originally when Hitler came in power, you remember that there was the Weimar Republic, for those of you who don't know. The Weimar Republic was basically a socialistic, corrupt government or entity that was before Hitler that had hyper inflation, not like we have now, way worse, like mega inflation, and the economy was crashing, the morality was crashing, society was crashing. Now that's interesting because then it brought about the solution, which was at that time Adolf Hitler, and he was seen at first as the guy who was going to make everything right. And back then, they didn't have social media, so it was easy to control people. And, Hitler came into power, dealt with the socialists first, because he was anti-socialist. He was fascist, really. And then dealt with what he thought was the problem, the Jewish question, the Jews, which he, had to pick on somebody. And the Jews had a lot of ghettos, and it was just very convenient for him to make them the scapegoat. That's obviously the worst thing. And then he went after Christians, and he went after anybody who didn't agree with him. And you'll see, Bonhoeffer's story. It's very well known. This is all based on the true events of Bonhoeffer's life. It's well worth seeing. It may make you cry at times. It certainly will make you think about a couple of things. I was trying to compare this film to where we're at today, and we're not in nearly the same situation. We don't have hyper inflation, and we don't have a totally falling apart economy yet, and decadent society yet. But the Christian church has been somewhat co-opted in many ways. There's a lot of things about many Christian churches I don't like, and I go to a Christian church. I go to one that I like, that I can morally agree with and understand. I think that today, because we have social media, or because you can see this video, we communicate better. And the reason I'm drawing this kind of soliloquy to, Trump is coming in to solve all these problems. We have some inflation, we have some decadence, we have some teetering economy, which the whole world does right now, by the way. So at this time, it's not just us, it's the whole world's about to go through an amazing time. But I think that we are not in a position to have the craziness, say fascism even, or nationalism, however you want to say it, that took place during the 1930s and 40s. We will have some things that seem similar. There's going to be deportations probably, people who legitimately do not belong here. As nice as they are, and as culturally significant as they are, and as wonderful as they treat their families, if they're here illegally, they need to reapply, and they're going to have to be taken out of the country. And God help them. If they come back in illegally, then they're my best friends. They're welcome to be here. But I don't want them voting if they're not U.S. citizens, and I don't want them taking up the resources of the U.S. government, which are already heavily strapped. And it's not an easy solution. I know. I am not a fascist, and I'm not a guy to go dragging somebody by their feet out of the country. But I think there are authorities that will do that. Will take them out to the other lands they came from, and it's probably kind of hit reset, folks. Probably time to scratch our heads and think about maybe we need to do something, because we're getting out of control. But I do believe, because we communicate, and because I can say the things I'm saying, and without fear of retribution, because you can too, and that we can have social media, we can have different opinions, we are likely not to have the rise of one side too strong over the other, so to speak. Biden was doing things that were not in agreement with most people. And if Trump does that in his administration, hopefully that'll be teeter-totter. That'll be pendulum will swing the other way. I was always taught that that's how it works in the American Constitution, that we allow for a pendulum, and that the people speak. So anyways, back to the film reviews. So Bonhoeffer, great film, worth seeing in the big screen. not gory, not too gory, not like oh my God, World War II. A different take on things, more of an inside story about a man and his struggles. Well done, really good job. And of course, the first one I reviewed here, 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 which is entertaining and worth seeing. Stream it, and maybe wait till it's $9 or $5. I paid 20. I need some entertainment. Anyways, that's all for today. We'll be seeing you. I've got some guests that have agreed to come on, and I'm kind of lining those up. Should be pretty interesting. Happy Thanksgiving.